Good morning. In our teaching passage from 1 Samuel 22, we read more about the insecure, angry, vindictive King Saul. He's tormented by an evil spirit that compels him to do evil things. Starting in verse 6, we learn that Saul has been told about the situation in Nob, where the priest helped David. However, David had lied to him and told him he was on a mission for the king, so really he didn't know that the king was pursuing David. So he helped him with food, he gave him Goliath's sword, but the king will view that action as the priest giving David a weapon to fight against Saul and being disloyal to him. So he's angry at the priest. Then there's the people who lived in Nob and likely saw David there. They didn't come to the king and tell him where David was. Then there was the fact that his own son Jonathan had made a covenant with David, accepting the fact that God had chosen David over him. The king didn't like that. And then the king is surrounded by members of his own tribe of origin. Surely they knew what was going on. Why didn't they tell the king? So, putting all that together, he is outraged. He reacts with vengeance. And he does the unthinkable. He orders the killing of everyone in the city of Nob, not just the priests, but the men and women and children. Yeah, it's outrageous. He's treating his own people as he would treat the enemies of God. Saul is anything but merciful. No wonder people are terrified of him. But then going back, as we begin chapter 22, we read of David, who's learning lessons about becoming a godly leader. I mean, God's not put him in the office yet. He's already anointed him, but obviously he's not ready for leadership. God's grooming him, and we see that taking place as he walks through these difficult circumstances. In chapter 21, we learn where David lied to get what he wanted, but then in Psalm 34, he lets us know that he learned from that incident. One of the things, don't lie. So that's encouraging. We don't want leaders who lie. Really, we don't want anyone to lie. People need to tell the truth. So next, David's family of origin has found out through the grapevine that David is hiding near the city of Adullam in a cave. And they wonder if King Saul might try and harm them as his family. So they decide to leave, and they're going to go and be with David. And when they arrive, he welcomes them. All of them. Even his eldest brother. Remember Eliab? The one who was not chosen to be the next king? The one who berated David when he arrived at the camp and learned about Goliath? That brother was so unkind, accusing David of wrong motives in being there, demeaning his role as a young shepherd. So imagine when he walks into the cave with the family. And you wonder, how would David react to him? What did David do? He welcomed him. Yeah, it's a beautiful picture of mercy, forgiveness. God is teaching David to be a merciful leader. He is to love his brother and take care of him and not retaliate against him for how he had treated David. That's true, isn't it? Good and godly leaders are merciful leaders. They don't operate out of sinful bitterness. That was Saul, influenced by an evil spirit. But David had the Spirit of God upon him. And by the Spirit's influence, David would show his brother mercy. But now, to be clear, I bet it wasn't as difficult as we might imagine. I mean, think about what David had just come from. A situation where his sin nearly cost him his life. But God had mercy on him. He cried out to the Lord, and God heard him and answered his call for help. So David had been shown great mercy. In turn, he would be merciful toward his brother. He would not be like the one in the parable of the unmerciful servant, who had been forgiven for so much a debt he could never repay, but then he turned around and mistreated a servant who owed him a very little. Jesus rebuked his actions. They were reflective of one who has not received God's mercy. So, beloved, we have received God's mercy. the forgiveness of all our sin. Therefore, we show mercy and forgiveness toward those who sin against us. We forgive as the Lord has forgiven us. Today, do you harbor any bitterness or resentment toward another? If you do, forgive as you have been forgiven. How many times must you forgive? As many times as you need to, until there is no more bitterness or resentment in your heart. Today, reflect upon God's great mercy toward us, and then let's all follow His example.
Praise the Lord, His mercy is more. Stronger than darkness, new every morn. Our sins, they are many, His mercy is more. What love could remember no wrongs we have done? Omniscient, all-knowing, He counts not their sum. Thrown into a sea without bottom or shore. Our sins, they are many, His mercy is more. Praise the Lord, His mercy is more. Stronger than darkness, new every morn. Our sins, they are many, His mercy is more. What patience would wait as we constantly roam? What Father so tender is calling us home? He welcomes the weakest, the vilest, the poor. Our sins, they are many, His mercy is more. Praise the Lord, His mercy is more. Stronger than darkness, new every morn. Our sins, they are many, His mercy is more. Praise the Lord. What riches of kindness He lavished on us. His blood was the payment, His life was the cost. We stood 'neath a debt we could never afford. Our sins, they are many, His mercy is more. So much more. Praise the Lord, His mercy is more. Stronger than darkness, new every morn. Our sins, they are many, His mercy is more. Praise the Lord, His mercy is more. Stronger than darkness, new every morn. Our sins,
Thank you for listening to Mornings with Pastor Jim. This podcast is a ministry of Family Church PC. For more information or to contact us, go to familychurchpc.com. Have a blessed day.